This week we were assigned to read chapters 7 and 8 in Effective Instructional Strategies from Theory to Practice by Kenneth D. Moore. These chapters focused a lot on evaluation, so like testing, portfolios, things of that such. Also parent-teacher conferences and other types of evaluations. Two types of evaluations that I found to be the most beneficial for my students and their learning would be pre-test, post-test, and portfolios. Effective instructional strategies stated that pre-test evaluation provides variable information to teachers about the knowledge, attitudes, and skills of the students. They also stated that the purpose of diagnostic pre-test evaluations generally is to anticipate potential learning problems and in many cases to place students in the proper course or unit of study. So this gives us a chance for the teacher to figure out what the students do know, what they're struggling with, ways that they struggle with learning, concepts they cannot understand, things like that. Post-test was defined in Effective Instructional Strategies as evaluation is the final process in an evaluation program. It's used for determining student achievement and for judging teacher success. Post-test evaluation, as the term implies, provides an account of the student's performance. So this is basically telling what the teacher has taught, and it focuses on their values, attitudes, and motor performance. So it just displays how well the teacher was effective in teaching the content, what they understood, things like that. Types of evaluations that I found not to be as successful or would not be great to implement would be competitive evaluation. A lot more students don't really enjoy this. It causes students to have to stand together as a group, and so that can make it harder to actually see the student's personal success. And you're comparing them to a group score, so their score could either be really high or really low depending on how the group scored. Ways that you can get authentic assessment are through oral reports, writing, math problems, science experiments, interpretations, things of that nature. Portfolios is another big part that you could use to assess things in a positive manner that would also be beneficial for the students. So it collects the students' work and progress throughout the area or unit and displays it all in one place so they can go back and look at it. But the students don't necessarily have to make the portfolio, the teacher even could. Another effective way to assess the students would be through testing. So whether this is norm reference testing or criterion reference testing, they both could be effective, but you also must make sure that you acknowledge that testing has to be constructed and administered carefully, or it could be misrepresented or construed, and so that's something that you have to make sure that you spend time creating your tests and put a lot of work into it, or they're not going to be effective. The first parent-teacher conference that I have where the parent and my beliefs do not match about the student is going to be difficult. Parent-teacher conferences are never easy, but they do give teachers and parents an opportunity to get to know each other and understand each other. A way that you could get around the two views conflicting would be to involve the student. It may not be effective. Sometimes involving the student doesn't really speak, but if you involve the student, let the student lead it, they're more apt to be involved, to voice how they're feeling so everyone can see. And if that's not effective, you could also involve principals, counselors, other teachers that the student has had. There's many different strategies you could use, and you just have to figure out what works for each student because not every student responds the same way. And you also have to be understanding of the parents and the students' opinions because at the end of the day, they're your students, you're their teacher. You have to put the differences aside and be professional, and if you can't be professional, you won't be an effective teacher.